Hello, I'm Gloria, a 36-year-old office worker navigating the ups and downs of daily life. Recently, my husband, Matthew, and I celebrated our 8th wedding anniversary, having become parents almost right after our wedding. Our daughter, who is about to turn 8, is the joy of our lives. Although our marriage has had its share of tension, the happiness our daughter brings us is undeniable, and I find immense joy in our family life. Yet, like many families, we have our areas of discontent. For me, it revolves around our household finances. Matthew tends to spend a significant portion of his income on his hobbies. While he's not extravagant, his spending adds up. I've always emphasized the importance of him contributing a fixed minimum amount toward our household expenses to help cover essentials like utilities and groceries. However, his contributions rarely go beyond that minimum, forcing me to constantly look for ways to cut costs elsewhere. My salary is primarily directed toward rent, our daughter's school fees, and saving for her future education, which often leaves me feeling overwhelmed. Compounding this financial strain is the division of household labor. Despite both of us working full-time, Matthew contributes very little to the chores. I've expressed my desire for a more equitable sharing of responsibilities. Balancing work, finances, and home maintenance is challenging, and I often find myself wishing we could share these duties more evenly. Despite these hurdles, I strive to maintain a positive outlook and create a nurturing environment for our daughter. I hope to instill in her the values of responsibility and teamwork, adjusting our dynamics as needed to support one another better. While our situation isn't perfect, I'm committed to making the best of it and ensuring our family thrives. Whenever I ask Matthew to help around the house, he often claims the tasks would take too long, using this as an excuse to avoid them. As a result, I've taken on most of the household responsibilities myself. After our daughter was born, Matthew barely participated in her upbringing, citing fears of accidentally hurting her, which left me with the bulk of the parenting duties. Over time, my dissatisfaction with him has grown. Despite our 8 years together and our child, I hesitated to consider divorce, especially with our daughter approaching puberty. I told myself it was normal for spouses to feel distant after years together and that no family is without flaws. However, a recent incident involving my sister-in-law prompted me to seriously reconsider our marriage. One day, she unexpectedly arrived at my doorstep, looking distressed. "Gloria, I'm sorry, but I need to hide out here for a while," she said urgently. "I've had a bit of a problem with my husband. Can I stay here for a bit?" Concerned, I asked, "Did something happen with Ryan?" She hesitated, trying to change the subject, which only left me feeling anxious and eager for more information. I waited until my husband got home from work, around 9 p.m. After we tucked our daughter into bed, my sister-in-law, Matthew, and I finally sat down to talk. "So, what happened, sister?" I asked, concerned. Her response shocked me. "Well, Ryan just snapped and said he wants a divorce." I was taken aback. I had always thought of Ryan as a stable and sincere person. It didn't make sense that he would demand a divorce without a valid reason. What triggered his anger? I pressed. "Why are you asking me that?" she replied, her voice laced with panic. Doubt crept in. Had she done something to provoke him? "Are you involved with him or something?" she accused, her tone defensive. I quickly denied it, and Matthew chimed in, laughing off her suspicion. "No way. Gloria barely has time for anything outside her responsibilities." He defended me, gesturing toward my phone left out in the open. Even with my husband's support, frustration bubbled beneath the surface. My life was a whirlwind of work, household chores, and parenting. After long days, I hardly had a moment to check my phone, let alone engage in an affair. Still confused, my sister-in-law insisted she didn't know why Ryan was upset. We decided it was best to talk directly with him to clear the air. Later, Ryan came over to our house. My sister-in-law chose to step out, finding it too awkward to face him. When Ryan arrived, he was visibly apologetic. "I'm really sorry for causing so much trouble," he said earnestly, which confirmed my belief in his normally sensible nature. "Ryan, I can't understand why you'd ask for a divorce so suddenly. You've only been married a year. Isn't that a bit drastic? There has to be a reason," I pressed, hoping for clarity regarding the rift in their marriage. That's when Ryan revealed a significant issue that had shaken the foundation of their relationship. My sister-in-law had spent his entire savings of $110,000 without his consent. Matthew and I exchanged stunned glances. "You saved $110,000, and it's all gone in just a year? That's over $5,500 a month," I exclaimed, astounded by the sheer amount. Further questions revealed that Ryan had been diligently managing their finances, ensuring there were enough funds from his monthly income to cover all their living expenses. This meant that the $110,000 had been spent entirely on non-essential personal entertainment by my sister-in-law. It was only natural for Ryan to be upset. Anyone would feel the same in his position, and I certainly did. I sympathized with him, recognizing how difficult it would be to maintain a relationship with someone who had such a reckless spending habit. An uncomfortable tension lingered in the air, perhaps because my husband shared a similar tendency to overspend, just like his sister. It felt like familial traits were at play here. Given the circumstances, I suggested to Ryan, if she doesn't make an effort to repay the $110,000, you might want to consider separating, especially since there are no children involved. He nodded in agreement, but then my husband surprised me by chiming in, "I'll make sure my sister pays you back." His sudden confidence left me puzzled. How could he be so sure? Ryan thanked him, clearly appreciative of the support. "I'd really appreciate that." "Thank you." It seemed we had reached a tentative resolution, and I decided to keep a close eye on how the situation would unfold. After Ryan left, my sister-in-law returned to our house. I confronted her immediately. "Ryan mentioned you used up all of his savings, $110,000. She responded defensively, "I used it for living expenses." I tried to explain this to him, but he just wouldn't understand. However, Ryan had clarified that he maintained a separate account specifically for everyday expenses. Her reply was sharp and dismissive, "You don't know anything, so just shut up." Her harsh tone was typical. She often belittled me in our conversations. Given her lack of remorse and dismissive attitude toward the financial chaos she created, it became increasingly clear that Ryan might indeed be better off pursuing a divorce. Her inability to acknowledge the gravity of the situation or express any intent to rectify her mistakes painted a bleak picture for their marriage. During our heated discussion, Ryan mentioned he could consider forgiving my sister-in-law if she repaid the $110,000 she had spent. "How can I pay back that much? I'm just a housewife," she lamented, seeming cornered by her own actions. I replied somewhat sternly, "If you can't manage to pay it back, then you shouldn't have been spending his money in the first place." Amidst the tension, my sister-in-law turned to me with a hopeful sparkle in her eye. "Relax, Gloria. We've got money, right? You've got $220,000 saved up, so no worries, right?" she exclaimed, as if she had suddenly found a miraculous solution. "What? Wait a minute. How do you even know about my savings?" I asked, completely thrown off. I had never told my husband that I had set aside that amount for our daughter's future tuition. "I found it when I went to your parents' house. It was in the second drawer of the closet in your room," he admitted nonchalantly. "You went through my things without asking? That's unbelievable." "We're married, but that doesn't give you the right to invade my privacy like that," I protested, feeling a wave of betrayal wash over me. Ignoring my concerns, Matthew pressed on. "Your sister-in-law is in trouble. You need to give us your savings to help her out. I was incredulous. I'm not handing over that money. It's for our daughter's future. If you think $110,000 should just be given away, then why don't you find a way to pay her back? I challenged. In response, Matthew pulled divorce papers from a drawer, as if he had been contemplating this option all along. I had them ready just in case something happened, he said casually. You've got some nerve trying to manipulate the situation like this. I shot back, equally frustrated by his audacity. With an air of finality, he filled out the form and stated flatly, I'm serious, we can get a divorce whenever you want. My sister-in-law watched the drama unfold with a mischievous grin, eager to support Matthew. I'll be one of your witnesses, she declared, scribbling her name on the form. You can either pay me the $110,000, or we can get a divorce, Matthew threatened, believing he could back me into a corner. I was astounded by their boldness and underhanded tactics. Determined not to show them how deeply their actions affected me, I feigned compliance, allowing the moment to pass without further confrontation. The next day, I decided to take matters into my own hands and invited some key figures, my in-laws and Ryan, to our home. When they arrived, Matthew looked bewildered. Ryan, why are you here? Mom, Dad, what's going on? Before he could continue, his father intervened. Matthew, don't embarrass yourself further. Turning to me, his mother offered an apology. Gloria, I'm sorry for my son's and daughter's foolish behavior. Ryan added his apology, I must apologize to you too, Gloria. Their words provided some comfort, but the situation quickly escalated again when Matthew tried to assert himself. Why are you two apologizing? You should be quiet. Ignoring him, his father continued, we went through your room, Matthew, and found stacks of expensive bags and jewelry. His mother elaborated, Ryan asked us to look into it, and it's clear you've had a habit of hiding expensive purchases from us since you were young. The revelations were damning. Faced with the mounting evidence of his deceit, Matthew's mother concluded, I can't stay married to you anymore. The tide had turned dramatically, unveiling the true extent of Matthew's financial indiscretions and casting my earlier grievances in a starkly different light. The situation intensified when it came to. As for my ex-husband, the divorce required some adjustments on his part as well. I arranged for him to provide child support, which he has been managing to pay consistently despite his circumstances. However, I've heard through the grapevine that he continues to live alone in his apartment. His salary, though decent, is stretched thin by rent, living expenses, and child support payments. Eventually, the financial strain forced him to move to a more affordable place. Unfortunately, his long-standing habit of unnecessary spending hasn't helped his situation. Despite living in a cheaper apartment, he often finds himself broke and without any savings. His financial behavior not only keeps him on a tight budget but also suggests he may struggle to enter another relationship anytime soon due to his unstable financial footing. Meanwhile, I've returned to my parents' home with my daughter. Being back home has allowed me to stabilize our lives and focus on the future. My parents have been incredibly supportive, helping with childcare while I work. This support system has been crucial in helping me regain my footing after the divorce. I'm working diligently not only to meet our day-to-day needs but also to save for my daughter's future. I want her to have every opportunity to pursue her dreams and ambitions without financial constraints. This is a new chapter for us, and I'm determined to make it a successful one. I also plan to continue sharing our journey, hoping our story can inspire or help others in similar situations. If you find our story engaging and are interested in following how we navigate this new phase of our lives, please subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot, and I look forward to connecting with you in future videos. Thank you for watching.